Well, good morning, everybody. This is the beef tallow. I cooked it overnight on low. It's not done. It's starting to look like cracklings, but I can still see some pieces that have not cooked down all the way. So I'm going to turn it up on high and let it finish. It'll probably be the rest of the day. And it'll finish. See the dark pieces right here? Those are the cracklings. Those, I think what I'll do is I'll just take all of the really hard pieces out, leave the really soft pieces in there so they can continue to render down. So I decided I am going to use ground beef for the pemmican. Make sure it's a very lean beef or meat, whatever you're using, beef. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to flatten this out, roll it out on this pan, dehydrate it, stick it in the oven and dehydrate it. It'll probably go all day as well. I got a dehydrator on my oven. You can do this in your own oven even if you don't have a dehydrator. Just I would put it down on 150 for a couple hours. You want to check on it. You want it to be really dry and crumbly, and then you'll know that it's done. And then probably by the time this part is done, then the tallow will be rendered. So I will check back with you later on. So what I'm going to do is I put the lean ground beef in between some parchment paper, and I'm going to use my rolling pin, and I'm going to roll this out and get it all nice and flat before I put it in the oven on the dehydration setting. So there you go. Okay, well, I got the ground beef all flattened out on my tray, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it in the dehydrator. Okay, I took all of the cracklings out of the crock pot, and I strained this through a cheesecloth and a strainer, and I got all of the crackling bits out of it. But I noticed that it is a dark color. It's like a light golden brown. So I put a little bit inside a mason jar. I'm going to let it cool down and see if the color changes. This is the first time I've ever done tallow, so I don't know if I need to keep rendering it. I think what I'm going to do is let it cool down. I'm going to clean out the crock pot and do it again. So don't know if I cooked it on high heat. I wasn't supposed to do that, or what. Or anyhow, it doesn't have a burnt taste to it. So I know maybe it just needs to be more rendered. I don't know. This did come from a dairy farm. It is grass-fed beef, so I don't know, but we'll see. I can still use it even if it's not white. So once it does harden up. So all right, well, we'll see. We will see. All right, guys, I'm back, and I finally got the lean meat beef dehydrated, and I just used a blender and went ahead and just crumbled it. It's all dry, and all of the fat, there was no fat in it actually, but just a little bit. But I've got it all ground up, and I'm getting ready to start making the pemmican. I've got the tallow ready to go, so let's get started. Okay, so this recipe calls for, you can add berries to it. You can also just have it plain with just the ground up dried beef, and then just add the tallow, put a little bit of salt in there, or you can get some freeze-dried berries, some dried berries, and you're going to want to grind those up as well. So what I did is I found this powder, and it is berries. There's nothing else that has been added to it, and it's been dried, and then it's been grounded up. So if you look at the ingredients, there's nothing else in here other than this berry. So it's 100% acai berries. I can't say it, but it's already dried and it's already ground up for you. So what I did is I added it to the beef. It's going to give it a berry flavor. So the next step I'm going to do is start adding the tallow. I'm going to melt the tallow and add it to it until it's maybe like a, you can form it into a patty. So I'm going to go ahead and melt the tallow, and I'll be right back. Alright, well, I added a little bit of salt to the dry mixture before I added the melted tallow. So this is the consistency that I have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and press it into probably a 9x9 dish, and I'm going to let it sit and then see how it turns out. So you want it to not be to the point it's so soggy that it's just like nothing but just greasy. You do want enough tallow in it to moisten it and to where you can pat it into maybe patties or bars or whatever, and I think that this is the right consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pan out, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and mold it up. I'll be right back. So I went ahead and put a little bit more of the berry powder in there, and it gave it a little more of a berry taste. And I also forgot I wanted to add a little bit of honey to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add the honey before I put it in the pan. Alright, well, I've got my pan ready, and I put everything in here and smoothed everything out. I'm going to let it sit. You can just let it sit out on the counter and let it solidify, or you can put it in the refrigerator. And I used some wax paper, that way I can get it out of the pan a whole lot easier and be able to cut it up. It does have a beef jerky type taste to it, with a hint of berry, a little bit of honey, and salt. So I think it's going to actually turn out pretty good. So we'll see. We'll let it solidify, and then we'll cut it up into some bars. Now, these may be a little thick for bars. If you want to use maybe a little bit bigger pan than this, I think this is either an 8x8 or a 9x9. You could probably get away with a little bit bigger pan, but you're going to have thinner bars. So, but I'm going to probably cut mine up and have maybe 9 bars out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and let it solidify and see what happens. I'll be right back. Alright, well, you're looking at the Pemmican. It has set overnight in the refrigerator, and it has hardened up. Kind of looks like a big brownie. I tore off 2 pieces and took a bite of them. I didn't really care too much for it. Me and my stomach, we just don't get along with greasy stuff. So it has the tallow in it, and I can taste it, and I don't care much for it. So I gave the dogs 2 pieces of it, and they like it. But anyhow, you know, this was just a learning lesson for me and for y'all, but I think the reason why I don't like it is I used, and you can do this, you can use very lean ground beef, and that's what I used, but it just seems like it has like a gritty texture to it, and I think that's probably from the ground beef. But and then the tallow that I used had a lot of the beef flavoring in it, so I think the next time I try it, I'm going to try it with some really lean steak strips, or get a roast and just cut it. But yeah, I didn't care too much for it, but some people like it. A lot of people that's on the carnivore diet make it and eat it, but I think with this batch I will have to pass. So yeah, that's a little bit kind of disheartening, but yeah, it's the first time making it, and I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, but yeah, I just I don't care too much for the taste. You can really taste the tallow in it. It's just too greasy for me. So there you go. That's how you make tallow and pemmican, and I'm gonna talk more on the tallow and the different ways of rendering tallow. I use the dry method, so I'm going to go over that with you all. I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and I'll be right back, and we'll talk more about tallow.